Hello friends and welcome to my Sorcerer starter guide. And if you are starting a Sorcerer, you will start off with the Fireball, which is an ability which you get through the staff that you actually find in the beginning. And then at some point you will probably start landing here in Clearfell and start killing off the first initial bosses and the first mobs, and then you will find gems, and these gems will come in 3 variants. You will find skill gems, support gems, and spirit gems. At some point, spirit gems are very rare, but you will find them either less. So basically the skill gems are the ones that will give you these abilities, and you can see from the level 1s you can have 4 abilities. You can also switch over to, for example, here the witch, the occult abilities, and take some of these. For now I'm gonna stick with the sorceress abilities because they will be enough for the beginning, and they will be where we will be playing most with, and also the ones who will we scale up in the end. And for the beginning I usually like to choose the flame wall, also the frost bomb, and also spark. So these are abilities that you all can use, and it looks like this. You take the skill, you click on the flame wall, and then it will become this gem, and you put it in here, and then you can take this and put it in your skill bar, and then if you put F you make a flame wall. And this flame wall is really nice because it will give your projectiles bonus fire damage, which is a flat damage bonus, which is really nice. So if you put down a flame wall and you shoot projectiles through it, you can see these projectiles get a little bit of a flame bonus that hovers around it. So the flame wall is a really nice addition. Also, it ignites enemies that are close to it. So this is actually really nice because ignite is one of the effects that we need and to scale up. So for the beginning, I like to use the flame wall. I'm using it for a long time, and I like to put in support gems. And these support gems, you need to find them. The first ones are going to be level 1, and in the beginning you will have 2 slots that you can fill. And when you click on one of these support gems, you can click on the skill and take the suggested ones, or you click on the bottom here and you can choose between all of the available ones. And of course you can also search here for example fire, and then it will filter out everything that doesn't have fire in it. And this, for example, would support attack. So this would support an attack, and it would gain extra 25 fire damage, but deal less cold and lightning damage. And obviously the flame wall, we want the flame wall to boost our attacks and to ignite our enemies. So what would be a really nice support? It would be a nice support to put the fortress in. It will deal less damage with hits, but the flame circle will go up as a circle instead of a wall, the flame wall I mean. And the second one is spell cascade, which will give it less area of effect and less damage, but it will give it two areas on top of the initial area. So basically the flame wall will look like this now, and you can see it's a much wider area, which so our projectiles will have more area to cross over, and it has more chance of igniting our enemies. So this is the first ability that I would recommend. The second one is Spark, and Spark is yeah, in the beginning you can use it as a damage dealing spell. It shoots out these electric shock dealing thingies here, and you can also go with I use conduction here to have an increased chance of dealing shock, because we're not really making a spark and electric damage build. We make a build that tries to focus on 3 different elements: of fire, cold, and electric shock. And the reason why I'm going to explain later. And this is the second spell I would recommend. The third spell is the Frost Bomb. This is also a level 1 spell, which you can boost up if you find enough support gems with I use the Frost Bomb as a mostly damage dealing effect, so I'm actually boosting it twice with damage. So this one means you can't deal critical hits, it's controlled destruction, and this one is concentrated effect, which deals more damage, but it will have less area of effect. And I also actually increased this skill gem with another point, so I can actually give it +1 level supported cold skill, which means it will deal even more damage. And it will look like this. You put it down, it will take a while. It will actually decrease resistances from all enemies who are there, and then it will explode for quite a bit of damage. And these are first spells that you will get. And sorry, these ones here. And the next ones you will get when you reach around level 6. And then you will be probably somewhere Red Veil, or maybe even going to the cemetery, or maybe you're in the Grim Tangle or somewhere in that area, and then you might be able to get the next spells. And the next thing that you want to do is obviously kill all the bosses that you need to kill, especially Beira here, because she gives you a really nice 10% bonus on your cold resistances, and you're gonna need cold resistance sooner or later. But what you're gonna definitely want to change is, well, for me at least, and for this build, is the Ancient Staff, and you will try to find one that's called Gelid Staff, and gives you instead Freezing Shards. The Freezing Shards, it's also a skill that's been given by this staff, so you will always need this kind of staff, and this one gives a level 4 Freezing Shard, which means every time you want a stronger Freezing Shard, you need to find a new staff. And what I like to have on this staff is obviously +2 level of all cold skills, and increased spell damage, and there's other nice bonuses as well, as faster cast rate, but the most important is increased level of cold spells. And for this level, the best one is level 2, so 2 to all cold spells, and obviously increased spell damage is always very nice. And what this skill does is it will freeze your opponents, and it shoots a lot of projectiles. They have 50% more freeze build-ups, and they fire 7 projectiles at the moment. And we're going to enhance this effect with another uncut support gem that you click on the Freezing Shards, and you can already see the first suggested one is Glaciation, which means 50% more freeze buildup. I already have it here. This is the Glaciation. I put it in here. So this skill in all gives 100% more freeze buildup. This is really amazing what we want to have, because this is just our freezing skill. It's also a bit of a shotgun, which deals a lot of damage if the enemies are up close, because it is possible that you hit an enemy with all the 7 shards, and that does also a lot of damage. But also you want it to be cast quicker, so you give it arcane tempo as well. And this is actually a really nice way to just freeze everything that comes into your area. I'm obviously a bit too high level for this area, so I don't freeze them, I shatter them immediately. So this is how it looks like if you kill the people with cold damage, and they will just be shattered to pieces. And where can you find these staffs? Either you can try to trade them in the trade website from Path of Exile 2, or what I like to do, if it's a new character or it's a self-found character, then you can go into the city, and every time after a level up, you can go see Una and go in here and buy these staffs. For example, this staff here has 58% increased spell damage, which is very nice, and I actually have level 5 Freezing Shards, so they would probably deal a little bit more base damage than my ones, but my have +2 to the level of all cold skills, which I always try to, I will try to collect these staffs, and then I always have a nice staff for when I need a new one. And this is the way I deal it, but yeah, you can either trade them on the website or always go to Una and try to get her staffs, and also increase the magic abilities with your orbs of augmentation, or maybe a regal orb on top. So for example, if this was a Gelid staff I would have found somewhere with 1 magic ability, I would go in, put an orb of augmentation on it, and then here this one got 50% increased chance to ignite. But the more often you try it, then at some point you might find a very, very nice staff. So if you followed so far, you're at some point gonna land here in Ockham, and you will have to fight a few bosses. And even until now, you have very nice abilities, and the basic abilities you already have. So you have your Flame Wall, which will increase all your kind of projectiles. You have the Frost Bomb, which now deals quite a bit of damage. In the best case, you can always freeze the enemies and then put a frost bomb on them so that they will get, they can't run away from it. And also, you can always try to freeze your opponents with the Gelid staff. You can see I can always like freeze them into place here. And all the other abilities, like for example the flame wall, it will ignite the enemies and make them burn a little bit, but that's not the main ability that we are going to focus on. Let's put another frost bomb down so the executioner will go bye-bye now. And you can see also in close range the freezing shards deal quite a bit of damage, and that's actually something that is really nice. You can see we always freeze the opponents, so it's a very good crowd control you have, giving you very good survivability. And now we're going to work on dealing way more damage. And let's go in the last skills. So okay, I will have to go into safety here because my hardcore character doesn't want to die yet. Let's go into the main ramparts, and then I will explain the last skills. And the last skills that we have and want to use are, for example, the Orb of Storms. This is the one that, together with Spark, is gonna try to shock enemies. I will give the Orb of Storms here, and I give it persistence, so the Orb of Storms will last longer. The Orb of Storms, I have it on my queue here. It will give, sorry, that was the Orb of Storms. It will basically put this area down where people are gonna get attacked with lightning all the time, especially if you stand here and also spark with your lightning spells. And the next spell is gonna be Cold Snap. This is actually one of the most damage dealing payoff spells you have. So basically, as soon as people are frozen, you can Cold Snap them and deal a vast amount of damage to them. And I use this mostly for crowd control and killing off enemies that I have frozen with my I have these in sorry, I have these in the auto changeable, that's why it changes, but my Gelid staff will freeze the enemies, and my Cold Snap usually kills them off. And then I put the Cold Snap here, and I give it more area of effect, which is really nice, and I give it Unleash, so it means you can actually pop off Cold Snap more often than once. And then, last but not least, once you defeated Freythorn and the boss there, you will get a Spirit Gem there and your first 30 spirits. And I used Raging Spirits here. Raging Spirits is a very nice spell each time when you have this active, and I will actually put in Infernal Legion here. This is a higher skill gem, which actually will, you might need to level a little bit more. It does not really change anything for now. This is what I picked here, but and I gave them meat shields, so they will have a bit more HP. But for now, it doesn't really change much what you give them. But what will happen is if you put down, for example, the flame wall, you will get 5 of these things, and they will attack the enemies. And if you do it twice, you will get up to 10 of these raging skulls, which are very nice. Let's go in, and I will want to, this should be a Cold Snap here. So I have left click, right click. Left click will freeze, right click will explode the enemies. This is usually how I progress. So I will freeze them, and then I will make them explode. Freeze them, explode. Freeze them, explode. This is the basic idea of this build and how you can very easily progress forward. Freezing, exploding, freezing, exploding. So this is how you're gonna just run through the maps, killing off the easy mobs basically. You don't need all the other spells for now, but those are the spells that we are gonna use up until level, let's say 16, and until we kill the first boss. And for the inventory, I would really recommend you, I mean, it depends if you go hardcore or softcore, but I go usually a lot of HP on all my equipment and resistances. I also like to go for energy shield on this one. You can obviously also go for a strength armor or maybe a bit of evasion. It really depends on what you want to do. I'm gonna go energy shield here. That comes most natural to the sorceress, I think. So you're gonna go a lot with intelligence and with energy shield. And then you have maximum life. This one is a very nice roll of max life. That's why I actually have this. It has 42 max life. And then I have a lot of resistances, especially cold for the first boss. So I have 70 cold res for the first boss, which deals quite a bit of cold damage. And also, all in all, I have a lot of HP to be a little bit tanky, because yeah, he's gonna need it. He doesn't have a shield or anything that otherwise will keep him alive. And also I have a second setup here in the second hand, which I switch to when I try to deal lightning damage. So I try to increase my lightning spell skills on the offhand and have also an offhand, which yeah, it kind of depends where you get the most lightning damage from. This is how I do it. It doesn't really change that much, and it makes it more complicated. It's totally acceptable if you just go with one staff and do everything here. It's not that difficult at this level yet. And this is basically what I go for with equipment. Let's check also the passive skill tree. The passive skill tree is what kind of tries to make this build work, and why I set it up like this. And in the beginning you can go up here for more damage, and you can also go up here for more energy shield, or this one here from faster energy shield. You also have faster cast rate here, which is really nice. I'm gonna take this next probably. And because I already arrived where I want to arrive for the early game, I went up here and here to go as fast as possible up here. Well, there would be the faster way here, but then you would kind of skip these really nice nodes for survivability, and I'm playing hardcore, so I try to stay alive as long as possible, obviously. But you always have to find the right balance between offense and defense. And down here you have the area where you get 10% increased elemental damage on the small nodes here, and you have 30% increased elemental damage if you ignited an enemy recently. You have 30% increased elemental damage if you've chilled an enemy recently, and you have 30% increased elemental damage if you shocked an enemy recently. So recently means the past 4 seconds. And what that means is you get 90% bonus damage if you manage to chill an enemy, shock an enemy, and ignite an enemy recently. So this is exactly why we built up this these skills like this. We have the freezing shards, which deal cold damage and will chill. We also have the frost bomb, which chills. So chilling is what we deal a lot of damage with, and probably the most damage with. We have our firewall, which will ignite everything which is close to it by default. So this is actually the easiest way to deal to ignite, because it will just ignite anything that goes. It ignites all. Where does it say it? Any projectiles create a wall of fire which ignites everything within its area. So this is the easiest way to ignite people. Just cast a firewall on them, and then they will be ignited. So we have our freezing shards for cold damage, we have a firewall, and now we have to shock them, which is a bit more difficult because you have to actually deal a certain amount of lightning damage. And what I've done is I've used the Orb of Storms and the Spark. So I will put down a firewall, I will put down an Orb of Storms, and then I will try to spark a little bit, and then I will try to again shoot the freezing shards. I will put down the freezing bomb, and that's my rotation against bosses, so that we can deal a lot of damage. And to field test if we do more elemental damage, we're gonna try and let's see, I throw some enemies here. Now I deal 918 damage with Cold Snap. Now it's down to 780. So if I freeze people, it seems like it's working. Let's freeze again. We're going up to 918. Let's go and put down the firewall. It's going up to 918. If I freeze, it's going up to 1048. Now if I put down the Orb of Storms and I shock them, I also go up. Here you could see the 20% damage bonus. I also go up to 900 damage. So all of these elements work, and now we have to get it to work for the bosses. So if you made it this far, let's go see the field test. This is the Act 1 boss, which is quite tough, but he is manageable. And let's go and see. I mean, this is just basic freezing killing with the classic cold snap at freezing shards. Then the guy will come and we will try to use our rotation of igniting, shocking, freezing, and then dealing the frost bomb massive damage. So one by one, we're gonna try to freeze him, frost bomb. Then we're gonna use here the shock. So we're gonna try to have him frozen all the time, and now we're gonna shotgun him a little bit. Another frost bomb, fire again, then another orb, shocking him a little bit, fire again, and then freeze him a little bit, setting up the bomb again, freezing him, another bomb, firewall. All in all, he goes down quite quickly. He will become his second form, the Wolfman, and let's see when he will. Come on, mate. When are you gonna change? He's already not taking any damage anymore. He's put on God mode for now. He's still fighting somehow, but yeah, let's go in another rotation for him. No, I need to do the orb first. Yes, he's burning and he has all the things going on which we want. He's frozen now, and you can see he takes quite a bit of damage already. And let's go in and okay, he freezes the ground. We will try to keep it up with the damage up here. So far, okay, he's frozen again, very nice. So let's shock him again. Oh shit, I missed that clue. Let's go in and try to deal damage again to him. He's already in the last mode, and I'm also receiving quite a bit of damage here, and he's gone. So this is basically the rotation, and we deal quite a bit of cold damage once our 90% is fired up. And yeah, this is the whole build from the beginning until the end of Act 1. And for the next episodes, I will continue this build and try to make it as nice as possible, and going act by act and trying to improve it step by step. So thank you guys for tuning in. I would really love if you have any comments trying to help me improve the channel, trying to find ideas what we can, how I can help you, what things you struggle with this build, what items you need to get or whatever. Let me know in the comments if you like the channel. If you didn't like it, please leave a like and follow if you can, and that would really help me out a lot. And yeah, I wish you all the best, and yeah, see you soon. Bye bye.